Hi, everyone. This is Blair Baker with Elo. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Elo's webinar series. For today's webinar, we're excited to present on our mPOS product offering. Presenting today, we have Sonal Apte, Senior Director of Product Management with Elo. Before we jump into the presentation, I'm going to take care of a few housekeeping items. The webinar today will be recorded. You can find the recorded webinar along with a lot of other useful information on elotouch.com/link. I've included that link in the chat window. For any questions submitted during the presentation, we'll answer them at the end. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Sonal.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sonal Apte. I really appreciate the opportunity to present our mPOS product offerings to you. We'll start off with our vantage point in this industry. It's no secret that mobile architecture is really changing point of sale. And the overarching reason for this is that the user experience with a tablet is intuitive and it's extremely familiar, which is why it has gained so much popularity. We're seeing two distinct things happen in this industry. The first one is, while mobile architecture is easy to deploy and install, point of sale is generally becoming much bigger and converting to retail management systems. It's incorporating not just the process of taking payment and completing the transaction. Instead, it's also the place where inventory management happens, time clock happens, e-commerce integration happens. So really, point of sale is turning into something more into retail management systems. In the small business environment, mobile architecture has really taken off for these reasons. In the larger retail environment, we see that mobile solutions are entering the store from all different places. And as these retailers find themselves grappling with the different solutions across the store, both software and hardware, they're focused on finding a unified commerce platform. And mobile architecture is just something that they cannot ignore for the future. What is Elo doing? Here's what Elo brings to the table. It's one architecture in store. Elo is focused on hardware and platforms that make its way into the retail environment. And with one compute architecture, we're putting on the table the ability to use mobile architecture across the store, be it in point of sale, where you can unify the electronic and the in-store commerce into one platform, or in signage, where you can use existing digital assets with the click of a button, or in self-service, which is really an extension of point of sale now, and allow and simplify that last mile of payment. Our contribution towards this is to provide you with one architecture in different form factors. What this does is two things. One is it lowers the cost of integration. You're only integrating to one compute architecture and getting multiple form factors to go for free. The second is support. It lowers the cost of support pretty dramatically because you're talking to one compute architecture, and more importantly, you're talking to one manufacturer. So there's one throat to choke, so to say. Now, having all of this is good things about mobile architecture in the retail environment, specifically in point of sale. However, it's no secret that Windows has a very dominant ecosystem when it comes to point of sale. And Android and iPad solutions are frankly ridden with some specific issues that are hard to overcome in commercial environments. Elo has spent the last 2 to 3 years investing heavily on solving some of these pain points out in the field. The first one, OS variability. this is a dramatic issue for anyone that wants to use Android specifically in their environment. More than 50% of people are still on Android KitKat, which is 3 generations of OS ago. What we're doing is we're putting together a platform called Elo View that allows retailers to manage that OS with over-the-air updates. It allows them to control the rollout of those updates. Commercial-grade hardware is the next one. There's tons of solutions out there that are consumer-grade, but do they stand the test of use or frankly abuse in the retail store? What we're bringing to the table is commercial-grade hardware with that mobile architecture. Many different form factors, and we'll go through that in a minute, but they're all backed with 2 to 3 year warranty, and we have a very, very rigorous quality cycle that backs up that warranty period. The third one, and probably the most important one for point of sale, is the peripheral support. Point of sale is a village. It takes not just the compute architecture, but a whole lot of peripherals. The printer, the kitchen display system, the scanner, the payment hardware, all of this has to work in tandem and work every single time. We spend a lot of time with the best of these peripheral manufacturers, bring together SDK support that is easy to use and holistic, and really work with a whole bunch of those standard peripherals. That's really where we excel in terms of giving Android, making Android and iPad capable in the commercial environment. And then the fourth one, mobile architecture and tablets are already easy to deploy. PayPoint, some of our products like PayPoint, just make it that much more easier with a complete plug-and-play concept for point of sale. In addition, we can't forget about service, because when something breaks down, you need immediate attention. Elo has global service centers and also advanced exchange programs that could really help with failures in the field. This is a very quick snapshot of our mPOS offerings. Again, we stick to the dream of one common compute architecture, but in multiple form factors. On the left-hand side, you see PayPoint. This is the platform that's completely integrated for point of sale and really boasts a plug-and-play deployment. Just one cable to install. On the right-hand side is the exact opposite, which is completely modular, completely flexible iSeries. Designed so that you can pick exactly what you want that fits your environment, fits your cabinet size. We'll go through the details of both of these in the coming slides. Before we go into the product, I just wanted to go through very quickly some real-life applications of these products in the field. So here's PayPoint Plus, and you'll see it's just the simplicity of this cash register with just one fully integrated box on the counter there. With the same compute architecture inside, you can also use the iSeries on a flip stand to create a little bit more modular system for your point-of-sale cabinet. And then the same setup, but with different mounts and different capabilities, brings to you, in a very simplistic way, self-service with this Wallaby stand that allows you to house a 3-inch printer inside. Let's go through the iSeries modularity before we jump into PayPoint. So we talked about flexibility and modularity with the iSeries, and this is what really I'm talking about. You can pick the screen size, pick the operating system, pick your peripherals, and then your stands and mounts to create the perfect solution for you across the store. Now, this could be at your cash wrap, or it could be in self-service environments outside of around the retail store. Very powerful because you really can create your independent fit, but you only have to integrate once because all of these work on the same compute architecture. Let's jump into PayPoint. PayPoint is what is the product we introduced and launched in October of 2017. Comes in two form factors and is available both for Android as well as the iPad operating system or the iOS operating system. The two platforms, PayPoint and PayPoint Plus. On the left-hand side is PayPoint, which is now, this is our second generation of this platform. It has a 2-inch printer and a 1D scanner, a smaller cash drawer. The one on the right, PayPoint Plus, is essentially just a supersized version of that previous one. It boasts a 3-inch printer and a 2D scanner and a full-size cash drawer. There's a fit for an application for both of those. In places where cash is not high in need, the left one fits wonderful because it's a smaller footprint and sleek and easy to set up. Where your needs at POS are and the demands are greater on the printer as well as the cash drawer, you want to go with the one on the right, the PayPoint Plus, which has not only a bigger screen size but also has a Star Micronics printer inside and a Honeywell scanner. Let's go through PayPoint Plus a little bit more in detail. So only real three things to talk about here. Unmatched style, no doubt about that. I think the picture says it all. So everything a merchant needs has a printer, a scanner, a cash drawer, a customer-facing display, which is pretty much all the basic needs in point of sale. And it is commercial grade. As pretty as it looks, it will stand the test of time out in the field, and it's supported by a 3-year warranty in the field. So what's inside? We've brought together the best breed of point-of-sale peripherals in one box. So with Android, it's obviously our compute architecture, and we'll go into the details of that. But from a peripheral standpoint, there's a Star TSP100 inside. So this PayPoint will work exactly like a Star TSP100 in your environment. The barcode scanner is a Honeywell 1D, 2D omnidirectional engine. This is the same engine that's available in the Honeywell Voyager series in POS. The cash drawer is a full-size 16-inch cash drawer. It's the exact same footprint as a Visario series, for example, a 1618 Visario series. MSR is from MacTech, and it's an encryptable MSR. Now, as people move away from doing payments on MSR and into EMV devices, we also offer cradles that can add the EMV capability without losing the fully integrated, easy-to-install functionality of PayPoint. For those that are still using the MSR, this MSR is encryptable to accept payments. And then there's a CFD. Many parts of the world, there is a requirement almost to have a CFD that rings up and shows a total. There's a 2x16 line CFD in the back for this easy view capability. The flip screen, of course, allows you to do much more customer engagement in the field. Simplicity. Who could have thought point of sale is simple? But the PayPoint really makes an effort to make it simple. We think about simplicity all across every touch point in this environment. So for developers, for our ISV partners, who are really the most important leg of point of sale, the ISV partners, for them, we've made every attempt to make the SDK easy and holistic so that the PayPoint is easy to integrate and easy to support out in the field from a developer perspective. We offer also firmware upgrades and OS updates through Elo View. The installation in field is obvious. It's a complete plug and play. This unit is probably the only one that has the potential to ship direct to the merchant. No installation or kitting required in the middle. The third one is the most important one, usability. After all, the reason mobile architecture is so popular is because of usability for that merchant. And PayPoint only extends that usability with its sleek, modern aesthetic, with its ease of use. We also have a really cool peripheral test app that allows them to go make sure that all their peripherals in their point-of-sale environment is working independent of their software app. And then service in field. When something breaks, because when it does, you need immediate attention, the merchant and the ISV has one throat to choke because we're bringing the entire box to you. We also offer an advanced exchange program, which is a spare in the air, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And of course, we're backed by a 3-year standard warranty. While we're talking about warranty and knowing how important reliability is to point of sale, we've spent a lot of time in this area with the PayPoint Plus. Now, Elo's brand is consistent with quality, and we spend a ton of test scripts and halt testing on our product through its development cycle. In addition to all of the work that we already do, with PayPoint Plus, we actually went through a whole bunch of stress tests to simulate user behavior in the field. So the flip, we did a test to flip that back and forth 250,000 times without any issues. We left the printer running for 50 kilometers, make sure it never breaks down. The MSR and the barcode's been tested to 500,000 cycles. We have a little test fixture that closes and opens the cash drawer every 6 seconds. Now that's much more than what a real environment will see, but that's exactly what I mean when I talk about stress tests in a simulated user behavior. So we're opening and closing the cash drawer every 6 seconds, and we've gone up to more than 100,000 cycles with ease. We've even tested button lights on the PayPoint Plus for more than 10,000 cycles. We've done the coin roll hit. For those who are not familiar with this, this is when the cashier takes a coin roll and slams it on the cash drawer to open it up. We've actually done that test too in past 50,000 cycles. And last but not the least, our iPad product is MFI certified. Anyone who's familiar with Apple knows that this is probably one of the most difficult certifications to go through from a hardware perspective. And this is our second generation of MFI certification with the PayPoint product. So true, style and reliability can coexist. When it comes to Android, let's talk a little bit about this compute architecture. I spent a lot of time telling you the benefits of having one compute architecture across the store. But when you have only one compute architecture in store, it better be really good, and it better be really reliable. You don't want to end up with a single point of failure. So what we've done is we've worked with Qualcomm here and brought a Qualcomm octa-core processor to the table in our products. Really amped up the memory and the storage with 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of memory. This is a lot more than you would need for a few years to come. The OS is the latest and greatest with 7.1 Nougat. And from a connectivity perspective, we have Wi-Fi, which supports both the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz bands, and of course Bluetooth 4.1, which is critical to add any other third-party devices to your point-of-sale environment. And what's really cool now is that this exact same compute architecture is also in iSeries Gen 2. For those that were at the webinar last week, my colleague Neeraj Pense went through iSeries 2.0, and the PayPoint and iSeries 2.0 share the exact same compute architecture. Let's go through a little bit more on each of the peripherals in PayPoint Plus. The biggest one, the printer. Printer is quite central to the point-of-sale environment. As much as we go into digital receipts, and while that trend will continue, you still have to have a printer for printing that occasional person who will need a receipt. And we totally expect that to continue. So printer does become a central part. We've picked Star Micronics, and this is a TSP 100 inside. It's a complete drop-in, which means if you're already experienced with how Star printers work, the PayPoint will work exactly like that. Boasts a very good speed of 230 millimeters per second, and it is Star Micronics, one of the premier names in terms of reliability. This printer has been tested to 60 million lines. It accommodates an extremely standard thermal paper with 80 millimeters in width, so there's nothing new in the PayPoint compared to the printer that's already sitting on your cash wrap or one that you're familiar with. This printer supports multiple languages, barcodes, or logos because it's a raster-based printer, which means it's an image-based printer. It's printing images, not lines, and that gives you a lot more flexibility with what and how you want to print on your receipt. The barcode scanner. 2D barcoding is definitely a new norm in retail. We see dozens of applications, and in many countries around the world, barcode has become synonymous with modern payment technology. The PayPoint Plus is equipped with a 2D barcode engine that's powered by Honeywell. And Honeywell, for those who are familiar with their barcodes and POS, their technology is extremely robust and has a whole bunch of choices to configure for exactly your needs. You can change modes, change the illumination, change beep volumes, optimize for the choice of symbologies that you would pick. There's really a lot you can do. And we've made all of that simple by providing an SDK that allows you to use any Honeywell command on the PayPoint Plus. In addition, there's a couple of cool plugins that Honeywell offers that's compatible with the PayPoint Plus. The one that's my favorite is the EasyDL. EasyDL allows you to scan and parse data from driver licenses. So anywhere where age verification is required, you could add a plugin like EasyDL and make things that much more simple and that much more capable. A full-size cash drawer. Much like our discussion about the printer, cash isn't going away. It's here to stay. It always has been. To accommodate those needs, there's a full-size industry standard cash drawer. It comes in two configurations because bills are different around the globe. The first one is what's used mostly in North America, which is a 5-bill, 6-coin configuration. And the second one is one that's used mostly in other countries, which is the 4-bill, 8-coin layout. The dimensions, the outside and inside dimensions, as well as the depth of this cash drawer insert is very, very close to any other standard 16-inch cash drawer you could buy off the market. We also have a 3-position lock on this, which is extremely standard. And what's really cool is you can add a second cash drawer to this PayPoint. So PayPoint comes integrated with one cash drawer, but we also offer a port at the bottom of the unit to add a second cash drawer. Believe it or not, that's very popular in hospitality, specifically in bars. MaxStripe Reader. MaxStripe Reader is one that's still quite popular even for payments in the US. This MaxStripe Reader is from MacTech and can be encrypted to 3-track to make it secure for accepting credit card payments. We have quite a few customers who use this MaxStripe Reader for loyalty-based cards or even for employee check-in. For those that are moving, and many of us are moving to EMV devices, we do build cradles, and you see it on the picture on the right. We do build EMV cradles that are customized for the EMV that you would use in your environment. So feel free to reach out to us for that customization. The display. On the Android side, we have a 15.6-inch display on this unit, which is flip capable. On the iPad side, this dock supports the 9.7-inch iPad as well as the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. In September of last year, Apple also announced its 10.5-inch iPad. We will be adding that to our support in the next couple of months. So the PayPoint Plus for iOS will take the 9.7, 10.5, or 12.9-inch iPads on the dock. Connectivity. So in spite of having pretty much a fully integrated box, there's always room for more peripherals, because that's how POS is. It's a village. You need a label printer sometimes. You need a tethered scanner sometimes. You need an EMV device for sure. And for all of those needs, we have a whole bunch of connectivity at the bottom so you can do more with that PayPoint device. Obviously, on the Android side, there's more flexibility with what peripherals you can add and how. So with Android, we have an HDMI port, a few USBs, a 12-volt power USB as well for those EMV devices that may need power or for a second display mount. There's LAN, and then there's a couple serial ports in addition to the second cash drawer port that I mentioned earlier. On the iOS side, on the iPad side, Apple restricts us pretty heavily in this space. But even then, we've made this PayPoint Plus unit capable of 2 serial ports, one that's designated for scale and one that's designated for any other serial device. Now, we obviously have SDK to go with this so that ISVs are able to integrate to this and parse the data like they need to from a serial device. Elo view. With Android, as we talked earlier, one of the biggest hassles in using Android in commercial environment is managing that OS. And then, of course, deploying the content. Elo view is Elo's platform that allows you to deploy and manage that OS remotely. This is what makes the deployment in the field and the installation in the field of these devices that much easier, because all you're doing is sending the unit directly to the store and remotely over the air deploying the content or updating the device itself. I think Neeraj went through a little bit of what Elo view does last week, and we're happy to go through some demos with you in the future, so feel free to reach out to us for that. Elo view is also a modular system actually, And it can support some existing management tools, for example, TeamViewer. Add your software. Seems easy, but there's some work to be done on the ISV side. We've spent a lot of time putting the right tools together so that our PayPoint is easy to integrate with the ISV's app. So it's really a true partnership that we nurture together with the PayPoint device. In our SDK, there are tool sets to detect what PayPoint hardware you're using, and then based on that detection, configure all these integrated peripherals like the printer, scanner, MSR, and CFD. In addition, there's ability to encrypt the MSR and to update the firmware. Advanced Exchange Program, or Spare in the Air. With the PayPoint device, because it is a fully integrated device, it's critical that if something breaks down, that you get a replacement ASAP. And for that, Elo has the Advanced Exchange Program, which you can opt into and really gives peace of mind. One call away, and you can have a new PayPoint or a like new PayPoint delivered to the merchant's doorstep within 24 hours. This program is currently only available to US and Canada. So what's the fit for PayPoint? In retail, it's really everywhere, but a lot of interest from pop-up stores, mall kiosks, or then just simply adding new point-of-sale registers during peak season. Then in hospitality, we have applications in stadiums, in QSRs, and in kiosks. That's all the prepared material I had today. Welcome to take any questions.
Hey, Sonal, we had a question come in about approved ISVs for PayPoint, if we have a list that we can provide.
Yes, we do have a list that we can provide, and I will certainly send out a link to our website. In addition, in the US, Dave Murphy heads up all of these ISV relationships, and he would be a fantastic contact to start off. But yes, I will send out a link. We have quite a few ISVs that are already integrated and many more that are in the process.
Okay, one more question. How do we integrate a weighing scale? Are there any recommended hardware solutions that we can use with PayPoint?
Yes, great question. So with the iPad unit, we have already certified to a couple of Bracknell scales. There's about 4 scales we've certified to. In addition, we have the SDK that basically allows you to change the baud rate based on what weighing scale you use, and then use that. And we can certainly help you integrate to the weighing scale of your choice. It's fairly easy. Our SDK kit allows you to expose the raw data that's coming from the scale and then parse it any which way you need in your app. Same thing for Android. For Android, we have SDKs that allow you to expose the data coming from your weighing scale of choice, either via USB or via serial.
Okay, I think that covers everything that came in during the presentation. Thank you, Sonal, and thank you all again for joining today. Just a reminder, visit us at elotouch.com/links for a recorded version of the webinar and a lot of good product information and contact information for our team. Thanks again. Goodbye.